I really enjoy doing the prophetic with you.
Thank you.
It really does.
Hey, everybody, I am here. I am here. I am exactly 1 hour and 1 minute late because I had a very eventful move of the Lord. So I'm going to wait till I see people write in. Let me know that you're here, and we will really get amazingly consistent, have an awesome broadcast together. Hey, Mary Jean, boy, I'm glad you're here. This night is for you. There's a lot of rebuke in it, and you need to hear it. I'm teasing. Jacqueline, you're on late. You're the second person. You should be the first person on. Rachel, tell me about you. Dave King, I need to whoop on you. Yeah, you see these glasses, buddy. Try to come and take them off. These are orange glasses I see through hope. So, Tammy, say hi to everyone. Good deal. Pam Strickland. I'm having a hard time reading through these things. God bless you and yours. It's going to be a great night. Akui. Aquia. Please don't change it ever again. But I'm going to come up with a better name. Say it again. Aquia. I love you, Aquia. Gosh, I don't know why I have a tough time. You're a queen. Bajorki, best night for your life. Michael Wong, I love your reviews. After all this time, I have found your reviews, and it's awesome. We just got to get them onto the scripts. Dave King, got to have you spread the word about this journey. And Doreen Russo, hey, I am looking cool. So, my puppy, Sebastian, fell asleep. I ran him hard. So, I have my other animal here with me. This is Ollie, my octopus. So, the eyeballs are gone because Sebastian, well, here's Sebastian. Come here. Here's Sebastian, the I Eat People dog. Okay? So say hi, buddy. Say hi. Talk to him. He learned Portuguese this the last couple of days. What was that sound? So Michael or Tammy or Dave King, he's a lion. Roar for him, buddy. Roar, roar, roar. Come on. Gosh. You eat poop out there and then you give me a kiss. Okay. Watch. We have taught him some good things. Okay. Yeah, Sebastian is quirky. So, but, whoa, stay still. Okay. Look at them. Good boy. Okay. Put your ears up. Yes. Good boy. Okay. Yes. Tell them what you're prophesying. Yes. Go ahead. Say, what is it? What is it? The nations. Oh, yes. Good deal. Yeah, you got it, buddy. The nations need to come under the lordship of Jesus. That's what he's saying. I know how to interpret dog. So, look, he'll obey. Mike Town, you couldn't have your animals obey like this. Breathe. Look at good dog, good dog. Breathe. Good dog. Look at it like a profile. Good dog. Okay, turn to the other profile. Good dog. Okay, so wave at him. Good dog. Okay, lead them in a music, a symphony. Good dog. Yes. Okay, jump over this iPad right now. Can you do it? Jump. No, I don't think you can. Okay. I'm going to set you down, buddy. Okay. It was good to be with you. I'm setting you down. All right. You bite on the muscle. It is harder than your teeth. It'll break your teeth. Okay. See ya. Yeah, you go clean the house. All right. Didn't finish the laundry. Okay. So Daniel Falls, yes, he's become a very smart dog. Very smart dog. So excited. Rachel, yeah, he's cute. Lori, good to see you on there. We're trying to connect, I think, with you today. Quite a day. Very good day. So I'm going to jump in, and this is going to be a very, very important night. Very, very, very important. And Cooper, I'm glad you're on. And I will jump right in here momentarily. I'm going to get a Kleenex so that I don't have a nose issue just spouting. So we shared last time, and Michael did an awesome job on sharing about reviewing what we shared about. We're going through the comfort room, and I look to share with you and then get your feedback because it'll be very important. I had what I call, thank you very much, very thoughtful of you, Elise. So I had a corner number 1 in the yellow house, and this is a wondrous adventure that the Lord started me on in the year 2000. And he had given me a visitation, and it's a visit when it's not only a dream, but it happens and you're awake at night, and it continues to happen over the next few weeks. So Rachel, good to know where you're from. So Elizabethtown area, that's good. Yeah, Dave King, where is Gunner? You gotta invite him, man. So, and others. So, I want to just share with you. The Lord showed me this house, and he said, everyone must go through it. And it's the house of our pilgrimage. And it was a training, the upgrades that the reformers would need. And a reformer is just Micah 1:1-4. Talks about in the last days, he will be chief among the mountains and will come to the mountain of the Lord to discover him and discover his ways. And then it will trickle down into the valleys or the dales, the other places, and then every man and woman their own vine and fig tree. So the age we're in, the hour we're in, and we have an 88-page document on moving to a second Reformation. The first one, there's been others, but the main ones, Martin Luther King, taught us how to get saved by grace, not by our works, which set a little Catholic boy free where I wondered if I was making it. Well, by his blood, I was set free. But then the question is, not how are we saved, but how do we live? And there's been a default where we live in misery. We live with this foreboding spirit. We live with the sense of no future or legacy or inheritance. It all can be pulled out from under us. And we don't understand our inheritance. If we don't watch out, we become like an Esau, where we're just not certain, so we don't reach, and we don't see that our future is as important on the earth as us being saved. What's better, a baby being born or a life well lived? Well, both are incredibly substantial. And the life well lived is where John 11, Jesus said to Martha, it's not about the age to come. I'm not the resurrection of life later, but now you can reside with me in the heavenlies. Now you have your inheritance. Now move into your future and hope. And it's something to apprehend, but with different levels of spiritual tools. And so this is really significant, but because the yellow house, he led me up to going into it in 2016. I went into the first room in the yellow house, and I had a little boy leave me and his dog. Is very touching, very wondrous experience, but very substantial and deep in the encounter with him. And it was prepping me with an emotional IQ, because we can see in the times we've been in that emotional IQ has not been stable amongst the world or the body at different points. And there can be spiritual gifts that are stronger than emotional capacities to carry the word of the Lord. And we got to be like those kings and queens that he develops through a very deep and intimate process. And I say it's the yellow house process. So we are in the comfort room. And the comfort room is a room that when I walked in, I didn't see anybody. And that was speaking to me that there's been very few that have come into that place of the true comfort of God. Because when we come into the true comfort of God, we live Psalms 131. So David said, my eyes are not haughty, nor am I proud, nor do I involve myself in matters too great for me. But I lay my head on his chest and trust him like a weaned child, and I receive his riches, his inheritance, and his blessings. It's a place of total satisfaction like a baby, contentment, that the oil of his presence and his comfort so comes near us. It's not only us seeing the big God that is bigger than all the devils and challenges, we're seeing the big God that's intimate with me. He's not only given the garden for all, but the flower for one. And so the first corner of the comfort room, I walked in, and it was called the grief room. And there's a connection there where you need to be comforted in the areas where you feel grief, which is a sorrow. It's not a heaviness. It's a sorrow that lands from rejection, lands from resignation, lands from negation, lands from self-strength, and then you can't get it done. And a sorrow tries to overwhelm the people of God and take their God-birth given character trait and inheritance in hope. And there's a hope and a hope again, and it is not something they have to conjure up, something that has been imparted in them. So the first corner, I went in, and it's after the attunement room where I'm attuning to his heart, and it's a perfect time to go into this place of comfort or grief, because I've attuned now to things that I missed in life. People, situations, promises, and I could feel lots of grief, because you do. If you feel like you caused others pain, caused God pain, caused the world pain, and it's something that we have to be able to face. A sorrow with a hope in his comfort is what the only thing that will not only get us through, but launch us into those deeper waters in him. A lousy example, but real example, is when I was in high school wrestling. I did okay, did good without having to, I just had a basic talent level, and so I was able to do well. I got to college wrestling, and I got it handed to me. And I'd be way up on guys, and I just had a lot of talent, but just they kept coming, they kept, they knew the angles, they knew the levels, and they had just given themselves to another level of preparation. And so I, in life, was told by the Lord to go through this yellow house because there'd be levels of challenge. There'd be levels of life that I wasn't prepared for. And he wanted me to be not only prepared, but at such a place that I could help others. And it was an invitation to such an upgrade, because I'd say, am I that bad that I got to go through these rooms, love and forgiveness room? Have I really been that unforgiving? And I was taking it the whole wrong way. He was saying, no, you've been that good in the sense that you have the courage to go through these rooms where others might. It's not a comparison at all, but it was just, he was so proud of me every step along the way. And every step was its own reward. And I thought I'd be met with how you think when you go through deep counseling, where they're going to look at everything you've not been, and it was the opposite. It was the enhancing of who he was. And it was an invitation. Like with wrestling, I always wanted better coaches that could show me more what I was doing wrong so I could correct it so I didn't, get beat up, So we want to do the same thing here. So the first corner of the comfort room, this has been a visit with Jesus. This has been seeing him. This has been a heavenly experience. And I'm going to share with you in relationship to our next corner, that the corner number 2, I'm going to review corner 1 real quickly for you. Because when I walked into the rooms, they would have different corners with different encounters and impartations with him, with brothers and sisters that were biblical, brothers and sisters from the past, with the present saints, with angels. There was expanded miracles. There was this whole different level of heightened heavenly experience that had a whole different level of impartation, and just, you talk about not boring. So not boring. So the first place I went in this comfort room was a place where Jesus was kneeling over this rock, and Jesus was weeping. And I mean, he was wailing like the mamas I saw in Zimbabwe. I saw a mama, we were all out there, I was rounding up the cattle, and I saw 2 or 3 of them hit their knees in the wailing. And they say, pathos is the highest of emotions. No, it's bathos. And it's just this gut-wrenching, just sorrow and depth to it. And the mama's baby had died on her back while she was, just picking in the fields. And so she just wailed. And in my town experience, we lived in Zimbabwe together. Don't even know if we talked about that experience, because I was just so, I've never heard anything like that. And that's what I heard with Jesus. And it spoke about how he wept and he sweat blood before he was put to death. In this situation, I'd always, as a little Catholic boy, looked at above the priest, and I was an altar boy for a while. The stained glass where he kneeled, and he was kneeling on that rock where he sweated blood, and I was terrified of it. I thought, I never want to have to go in there and experience what he experienced, to think of the weight of the world's sins. I can't handle my own. But I was sucked into that stained glass mirror with him, and he was wailing, and he kept looking up at me, and he kept saying, I'm so sorry. And I'm not going to go there because it's not the main point of tonight, but I just felt for him, like, what's he so sorry about? And then he looked just through me and said, I'm so sorry for what you went through and what you've gone through, which I broke. I didn't for a while. For a while, I thought, it wasn't that bad. I'm trying to comfort him. And he just kept saying it happens. And I just had flashbacks of experiences that really, as a tender boy, it really hurt, There was one time my mom got angry at me when I was 6 years old and kicked me in the face a bunch of times in front of my friends. I don't want to get heavy now, but he said it happened. And my mom was a great woman. I don't hold anybody to any. I just know life. I want to look at them not through the mistakes. I want to look at them through their sufferings and see, and through God's love. So, but it really hurt. And, there was other times that really hurt. And he kept saying it happened. And then he held me for so long. Once I could say, it happened. I got accused of being a lifeguard that let a little boy drown in a pool, and it was on the front page of our papers, and it happened. And, it just happened. And so he's just to say it happened. It was like when I watched Good Will Hunting, and Robin Williams said to the young man, it wasn't your fault. He kept saying it. The guy said, don't mess with me, And then he wept and he said, no, it wasn't his fault. So I believe that somebody identifying with you on such a level, and they've thought about you so much, and they've thought about everything, and they just have that depth of care for your heart. And to see him comfort me in my pain by him carrying it. And then the next thing he said to me, none of those pains are yours. I died for those. I want you not to experience them from this point. I want you to hand them to me. You can be tender. You can learn from them, but you're going to be a mess if you keep taking them inside of you. So that was quarter one. And there's more insight that was given there about just God's number one pain was what we individually have gone through. And it's not like he's distant or he caused it. Life has curveballs. So the second corner, sorry, I got something in my eye. The second corner was the corner where I had caused God pain. And that was, again, these are places where I can share with you just briefly now. I hope there's some time where we have one of these yellow houses we're building, the B&Bs. And I've had somebody offer to build a real big one, and where we could go into each room and experience it, because it was all not acted out. We went through a journey with him in those rooms, and it was amazing. Just we could do it in a house together and really go there and just really with his angelic helpers and his kindness and his displays. He's brilliant in just how he unlocks our hearts and graduates us. And it was all with, tokens and symbols and just unbelievably creative, like your own movie, but it was real. So he's, he didn't have much to say about the pain that I caused him. It was a judge, and I shared this last time, that was accusing me. And he was accusing me and wanted me to die. And it was because I had stopped asking the Lord 3 times in my journey. And I turned to my own self-strength, and I didn't trust him. And the greatest pain that he had ever experienced was me not trusting him. It was like when in real life with my father, who loved me perfectly, after the little boy drowned, I went from an athlete and a leader in our city to on drugs for 3 years and didn't see my dad because I was so ashamed. And I go to take a college class and the teacher steps out and it's my dad. And he says, Bobby, in front of class, this is so bad, son. And I started crying. Class started crying. He just said, we come for Thanksgiving. But he talked to me after the class. He said, son, you can always keep asking me, son. Keep coming to me. I'm not, how could you ever consider it be my nature to not want to help you or to be with you? You can't offend me. And I just understood now as a father that if your children don't come to you, there's just an incredible emptiness and pain that creates. And so now God is able to feel every pain that he brings. If you don't get loved today and you're supposed to by your husband or wife the way you think, or you might need to be loved or rightly loved, well, he'll love you another way. He just is so wise and good. So I just felt the incredible warmth of God. Michael wrote a tremendous review from last week about how he just wanted us to ask again. And especially in this time with the political resentment, it's a form of politics. It's been through the ages. You've studied it. You can study it where it's one of the lowest common denominators where you build such a level of mistrust and then dehumanizing, and then it gets dangerous. And so we're just not built that way as believers and sons and daughters to do that. But there hasn't been an asking again. There was a disappointment over the election and didn't necessarily go a certain way. There was a disappointment over the law, the election, the counting of the ballots. There was a disappointment just on the curtain being pulled back and the level of corruption, evil, unkindness, and so there just was this shock to the world, and the 24-hour news gives you the ability to see more than what you maybe are called to see. I'm not saying have your head in the sand, but we should spend most of our time asking him. Bob Jones told me 30 years ago, he said, there'll be a day where you can hold it'll look like a phone, he said, and you'll be able to watch TV on it, and you'll be able to talk to people across the world. And and I looked at him like he's crazy. He said, there'll be a day there's a pill that will do abortions, and everything. All those things he said were real, but his point was, I started to pray right into it, and because he was concerned about it, because people just get lost in what's new and what's news, and a lot of times not with true research data. I'm glad I went through at least a measure. I'm glad a master's program where you learn how to do, survey and research where you can verify information more. And so just what it's led the body to do, because rumors always do this. They always have a demonic twist to them, and they hook us, and they end up doing like what they did to Scrooge, where Scrooge, or I could use biblical characters, once maybe it showed that he had been a solid, decent person, and then he gets terrified of the world around him and gets inward, and then he's selfish like Haggai, he just cares about his gain, paneled houses. And then the angels or demons visit him, and he goes into terror, then he goes into plaintive cries where he's pleading for his life, and it's just about him. So by the time the third angel came, or demon, but angel, he was where he needed to be and asking again. He just wanted to be a good man with the rest of his life. And so there is a way to ask the Lord as we move forward. And so I want to share with you that way. And then I'm just depending on time here, I'm saying, number one, we always come to him. Bird was made to chirp. We just turn and chirp, and it's just already decided. We just trust him, and we look to him, and we believe he's enough. And he's asking us if, aren't I enough? Where was I at in this situation? Can you ask me that? How did I care for you in this situation? Can you ask me that? How am I going to redeem this situation? Can you ask me that? And it just gets too painful to ask, but not really when we know him. And so that's where we're at. Ask again as a people, because there's another level of hearing, and the whole shift in 2020 and 2021 has been the shift that I shared about. I shared about a spaceship that from the year 2000, I had this dream. It landed on the earth in 2020. It opened up. At first, a lot of leaders and people that now I know, I didn't know at that time, and shared with them all, 80 of them, and they were seeing first apocalyptic devastation, just what they thought. Then the spaceship closes, and then it opens up, and then they see a radiant city, a redeemed city, a united city. And I turned to the Lord and I said, which one is it? And he said, you choose. And that stunned me. Deuteronomy 7:17 and 18 says, if you say the nations are greater than me, the Lord, then how can I dispossess them? And I really understood what I'm going to share with you tonight is I could not operate as an earthbound citizen anymore. I had to take my seat in the heavenlies with the authority that heaven grants me. And I could not, like Philippians 1:17-18 says, don't be alarmed by your opponent. It means destruction for him. Don't even get into the battle on the planet because of demons and it's all there. It says, go to the skybox. Basically, John 3:12. My feet are on the earth, but I'm in heaven, Jesus said. So you maintain your position from heaven where you see the 50 million mile view and you see many, many years out, and you're able to work within the spiritual tools that the Lord gives you, and your impact is supremely multiplied. Bigger devils and challenges, bigger weapons. It says in Jeremiah 51, the devil comes with his new tools. God raises up another arsenal. So we have been living for this time where we're a people that are going to agree to be prisoners of hope and to see from that hope-filled place, that heavenly place, and not allow our emotions or familiar spirits to land us on the earth again. Well, now we will have impact on the earth, definitely, but let me just describe how to approach him and asking again. And this might be controversial to some. That's never bothered me at all. But I want to tell you something that is one of the strongest words the Lord has given me in my life. So let's all pause. And it's for everybody. And I was very clear that it was for everybody. This week, I had my car stolen. Some of you might have saw the pictures of it. I had the guy who runs the lot pound where the cars got taken once they find them on the street somewhere. He drives me to where my car is, and he said he lets me out to get the car, and he had the key, gave it to me. Well, there is this burned frame that is like an accordion. There's nothing to it. It's probably 3.5 feet wide, and it's just all there is burned, scorched metal. And I started taking pictures for the insurance because they wouldn't tell me up front, what was wrong with it or not. They said it got banged up some. Well, the guy comes up and says, parked his car and said, "Why are you taking pictures of this thing?" I said, "Well," he said, "it's my car." And I said, "No, right over here." And right next to it, but it was behind a snowbank, was my car. And my car, the front end had been banged up, and back end, they had taken the bumper and dented it other places. And it was filled with like 9 people's backpacks, and I'm going to get to minister to all these people that I don't know which one of them could have been the one who took it. It just one person had, it's birth certificates, people I could go into it. It's just, so it was like a homeless person been in there and only been gone 8-10 hours, So, but the car, that happened with the car. And then my other car, the battery's dead, so then my son sold me another car, and then the thing is a lemon. I love my son, but that boy. So I have not any way to get to places, and that was important, I got, so also the refrigerator freezes over, so, and also I had made a deal with somebody to help with the social media and just kind of get these videos organized. And if anybody knows how, thank God, help. And help with some of the communications, because I just got to pace it, And so he writes out this plan, and we sign a contract, and $15,000, and he goes poof. He goes somewhere with the money, and and so all this week, and I can go on, it doesn't stop there by any means, It's just, I got so much gas in the tank, and like all day to day, I'm trying, struggle with this car, struggle with some other processes. I haven't answered people that I love, and oh man, that just hurts my heart when I'm just trying to get things done, the car back cleaned up. It was such a mess, and I'm out in the garage, and I'm just complaining, and I'm blaming, and I'm feeling really sorry for myself. And I hear, and this is the best part, is I start to just apply myself to this new encounter pathway that leads me to ask again according to his heart. That's what we want in the second corner. That's what he showed me. Okay, you didn't ask me again these 3 times and get yourself hurt and act like crazy, man. Over the last 5-6 years, since I had my health issues, family issues, I just I wasn't me. And I wasn't asking him again on some things. And so I apply myself to this new encounter pathway. And at one point, you break the skies and you enter into the heavenly place and you do a panorama. That's kind of what the Lord showed me in 2021. He showed me all these people on the top of a building looking out in God's periscope at the earth according to his original design, and some could look in it for a second and they'd pass out. Others were able to look more and then they'd pass out. I mean, it was just too wonderful. And so he wants to give us that original design and that view that's the best view in town. It's a heavenly view, and it changes us and transforms us, and we live like those aliens and strangers. It's awesome. So I'm applying myself. And I said, I'm just going to go up. Bob Jones, we had the last 3 years, just on Valentine's Day. I got some special things to tell you about that some other time. But we go up because Bob was prophesying on the earth. He was prophesying that California was going to fall into the sea and different things. And I'd say, what did you really see? And can I appeal to you about a method of hearing where we get above the clouds and we see with a hopeful view and with solutions. And so we started doing it together. And his prophecies, we went on the Holy Ghost Hope Glory train. He said that I've had incomplete prophecies in the past. Now, he was so beyond me, just in his feeler, a toucher, a sensor. But one thing I could do is help with building blocks in the prophetic and see a long ways out. And he just enjoyed that, and I enjoyed it incredibly. But we'd get together and he'd say, let's get rapture. Let's go up. And the first time I brought a team of people and just said we'd adore, and then we'd magnify who he was in us. We'd see him, and we'd do it in one another. It was awesome. Just release who Jesus was. That would kind of get us past the brazen laver into the place of the table of communion where we really commune with him, and he'd begin to tell us of heavenly things, and he began to let us taste of the ages to come, and let us see the host of witnesses. He let us see the brothers and sisters that have gone before us, interceding. He showed us the singing rose garden. He showed us, and it wasn't just ethereal, it changes you and transforms you when you see the colors of transformed saints and you see each other in that heavenly place where you've ascended the mountain together, and you see like Moses got to do with Elijah. You see each other according to the original design, the colors and the life in each other. Now we're getting a presidential election doesn't move us. And so I was, just at the table of communion with him, and it was sweet. And the table is in a heavenly room. There's rooms. We have many mansions, and those mansions are now, and there's rooms, and there's more rooms. And like the yellow house is a mansion there that is a place where we go through these rooms, and we live in these rooms. It's the wonder of these rooms. So I'm coming up to that place, and I break through the clouds, and I'm in the garage. I'm sweeping the garage floor, and I see his eyes of fire. This is not any small thing. I want us all to hear this. His eyes of fire looking at me. And I had been complaining just about political situation, about being violated with the car being stolen, with just a couple of family situations, couple of, I just felt wore down. But it instantly changed when I saw his eyes of fire, and he said, if you are tripping over these little problems, why don't I give you a big one so you got a real reason to complain? But how do you say it better than that?
If you're going to complain about these little things, I'm going to give you something big to complain
Yeah, if you're going to complain about these little things, I'm going to give you something big to complain about. Now, this was to all of us. And, it was I'm looking for where it is here. It's down here ways. Okay. So it says, if you want to complain about all these things, then I'll give you something big to complain about. And the fear of the Lord went through and through me. Instantly, I saw so much I had to appreciate and be thankful for. This week, my daughter had her baby about a week and a half ago. But life, just having breath, having my feet touch the snow, just having a leaf in my hand, just the stunning appreciation of all the good that he's done for me started to bring back my divine memories. Divine memories can fade. Spiritual experiences can fade. Life experiences with his nearness can fade. And I was allowing them to fade by replacing them with really the resentment, politics that's in the air. There was a resentment about how I was being dealt with. And so for him to say, and we all know he's loving and he's gentle, but there's a mild mercy and then there's a severe mercy. And the severe mercy was, if you're going to complain about these little things, and why don't I give you something big to complain about? And that's how he deals with me at times. But I would submit to all of us that I just saw across the body, and I didn't see one that didn't have a complaint. And it was not appropriate for what he's done and who he's been to us. And I have had, and many of you, a lot of my life where I lived in different nations. And my wife would go twice a year to like India, and she'd go to the roughest, hardest places. My son would, my daughters, and we'd stay there, live there, just because we were, our hearts were to help. But more happened to us in life experiences where we were with people that had it rough. And in America, monkey can make money. I mean, I don't want to disregard people's pain, but just to be supplied for basic needs. And for us to allow the fears to creep in and the lack of trust towards him, and for us not to have the proper posture when we ask again that he describes in Ecclesiastes 5, and then he describes the results in Hebrews 12. And so I just want to invite you into this on-ramp. And this isn't to be heavy, but just ponder on him saying, if you're upset over these little things, which is the challenges in our nation, the left versus the right, the controversies that are happening, if you're overwhelmed by these, then how about something big? A pandemic. I understand. I'm living in it. And because of my immune system, they won't let me go out as much. I mean, it's affecting me. It's affecting all of us. But I believe that this could be the best time of our lives to individually have a honeymoon with him. I believe when we ask again, according to what it says in Ecclesiastes 5, don't enter my throne room like a fool, shouting at me with plenty of cries. So enter in with honor, enter in with appreciation, enter in with single-eyed focus. So those who seek me in secret, they'll be rewarded openly. I'm worth your focus. Enter in with love and desire. Don't do it. Enter in with persistence. He says, you keep knocking. It's like Daniel 9. Daniel kept knocking, and the Prince of Persia was holding off Michael the archangel, and then there was a breakthrough. And there is a real gap between maturity and honor of him and appreciation of him and what he's done, spiritual memories that we remind each other of, versus giving each other the opportunity to complain. I watched a school board on YouTube that was complaining about the kids, complaining about the parents, and it was so crass and it was so rude and wrong. It takes a long time to get there. And so for that level of defilement in your value of children and really what they need to grow and prosper, you're going to be visited by the Lord privately and then publicly. You'll get shamed, and then then other things can happen if we don't humble ourselves. And so I am not concerned about the evil. I'm surprised there isn't more. A man or woman without God is a possible anything. And that doesn't mean you don't love the essence and the original design. It's just you prepare yourself to ask again from a place of authority and not fear of darkness. And you proclaim the truth, and we find out how we fought with wrong tools in this last season. In me, I'm talking to. So let's get into the skybox. If we're on the ground fighting with the enemy, we might win, but we're going to be battered and bloody. If we get into the skybox, and I did in 2008 with Bob Fraser, we were leading lots of marketplace people, and they were losing all their money and with the crash. And we were on the ground trying to run around help. And the Lord gave me a dream, said, come to the skybox. I went up there, and there were 6 tables that were empty right in front of us. And it was Bob Fraser and others. And the Lord said, turn around. And we turned around. There were tables that were full. And I announced those. It's on, we're getting organized. But all my past videos are, one was Rich Veins, and lots of people listened to it and actually did well financially because I said, these are the things that are going to prosper at a time like this. And the Lord had revealed that from his heavenly place. There's a financial room in heaven where he wants us to prosper. And these are not things that are made up. Isaac went there in the midst of a famine. So let me talk to you about how to not be no more earthbound, plaintive, woe is me prayers. It's time we shift completely and we become heavenly citizens and ask for a heavenly place, our inheritance. So let me talk to you about how to do that, okay? In the past, we've known a main way of engaging God, and that's been through petition or intercession. Now, that is awesome. There's come reason with the Lord, but that's not where we end up. It's part of the process, but it should come out of the table of communion, where you're already remembering what he's done for you, what you've done for him. You're going over your history, and you're saying, awesome. So now you, like David said, now you've been so good, and this is a heavenly place, the table of the Lord. It's in Exodus 25 through 35, and Hebrews 9:23, and 8:23, 9:25, 35. I got to look, but it tells you now you do it in your heart. You don't go through a temple made with hands. So you get to that place at the table of the Lord. It's a heavenly place. You have the seat of honor, and you have the sweet communion with your brother, your King, your Lord Jesus. And you talk about, what you've done in the past. You start with appreciation. You just don't start asking a king what they can do for you. You just love them and honor them, and then he'll say, "Ask me anything," and you say, "Okay, Lord, I believe that you were going to have somebody win the election," and I told others, and I feel responsible for that. And I know you're a God of hope. What are you doing that's even better? I said, "Is that a right question?" So, so it's a new day and new way for all of us, and we're going to have different eyeglasses. So let me share from Hebrews 9:23, and let's look at that. Okay, to 9:25-26. I need my Bible. I thought I had written it down on there. It's in my gym bag. So, how's everybody doing? Everybody going with me? Blake, what do you think? Good word. Mike Town, I worth your focus. I love people, just taking the main points and then sending them so we could say, okay, you made the point 1, 2, 3. So you get it, but also I can use it for the review because sometimes I don't always follow the script, So Dave King, oh, you got to go? Well, listen to the end of this if you can, because what I'm going to do too, tonight a little, but I'm going to talk to different ones about their position as a Mahalalel. And Mahalalel was in Genesis 5, Dave, where it was a real rough time. We know Noah was soon after that, and he had to get the earth purified. Well, Mahalalel was one of the sons. After Cain killed Abel, they had a son called Seth, which means appointed one to call on the Lord. In other words, we're going to get our family back together, and this son is appointed to get us calling back on the name of the Lord. Seth had Enoch, which means man. And so it's appointed man. That man was going to be whole again. And it's a prophecy right after the fall of Jesus' divine sophistication through the names of all these sons. So it gets to Mahalalel real quick here. So I just want you to understand that the next part of this visitation with the Lord, where he said, ask again, but let me give you the boundaries on how I want you to ask me, and the appropriate way, and with the appropriate hope, and the appropriate heavenly place. So he said, you've got to become like Mahalalel. And he said, you want to visit him? You want to meet him? So he takes me to meet the saint that has gone on before us. And the wonder of it, I'm going to describe it. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to do an hour at a time of a room. You'll feel it and get it. So, Dave, I just want to make this point to you, is that after appointed man Enoch, to sorrow was Canaan, the next son. It says Mahalalel. Okay, so appointed man to sorrow. We've had some sorrows in our nation lately and in our lives. But immediately it says Mahalalel. And Mahalalel means but the blessed God. El is always God. Tell you how the rest of his name means but the blessed God, or but the praise of God. And then after that was Jared shall come down. And then it was not Enoch, but Enosh, that is bringing or dedicating back to the Lord. And then the next name was Lamech, which meant wounded one. He was the one who killed a kid for just brushing against him. And then Noah was the next one, comfort. So you just got over thousands of years, several thousand. You got the sons of these fathers, and their names put together are prophecy. It's appointed Seth, for man, Enoch, to sorrow, Canaan, but the blessed God, Mahalalel, shall come down, Jared, shall come down the lineage, bringing Enosh, the wounded, Lamech, comfort, Noah. Unbelievable divine sophistication all over the scripture. He's saying, if you can see it, look, I'm bringing you hope immediately. But what he showed me in the yellow house, it was Mahalalel. And Mahalalel, he showed me as a child where the parents would have people come to them and say, the election went bad. And they point at the sun, but the blessed God. The economy went south. My children, but the blessed God, or but the praise of God. It was the way to ask. It was changing and revolutionizing us from this pitiful, plaintive, terrified, he doesn't trust, he's not trustworthy, he's not near to, no, he is. We're being awakened to it. We're going to be heavenly citizens, and we're going to be Mahalalels. And Dave King, I saw you as a Mahalalel and a Jared, that you would be one that says, but the blessed God, I've been through everything plus, but the blessed God turned it right around. And you're going to say it in a way and with a group of people that it's going to lead to 300,000 new Hope Reformer leaders, and they shall come down from your lineage. You will show them how he has come down, and they will come down from your lineage. And I saw different ones in their names and even phone numbers. And I don't know where I wrote it. I'm sorry, but you are a gatherer, and we have a subscription group that we're praying for, and we're answering these two questions for this group. And it's a development process. It's one of the best through the prophetic. People join it if you can. But we're asking, what kind of fivefold calling do they have? And it doesn't mean they have to have the office, just the emphasis. And what kind of person are they? Their temperament. Are they like ginger, which taps lightly? Are they like cumin, and they like to spread out the goodness? And are they like wheat? They need to be planted in rows. Well, you are like cumin. You're to be spread out. You're a divine lightning bug, where you go and you light up here, and then you go and you light up here, and you don't have to worry about people that have known you at your best or your worst, because they're not to ever define you or me on our way or stay, and by mistakes. They define us by our suffering. By that, they see what we've gone through, the Indian proverb, I haven't walked a mile in their shoes. And they are merciful, would never judge, and don't allow yourself to be judged. And this is a very significant time for you to reach some ones that are part of this family. And you need to see yourself as a key one in this family. You have a sweet stick that is going to help touch just different ones. And you're going to ask again for your children, for your family, for your business, and you're going to leave it to him, but you're going to turn outward with your love, and you're going to ask again. Ask again for a Doreen Russo. And I don't know if Doreen is on the call. That woman has a great calling in her life, and she'll be like an Aunt May to you. She's not that much older, I don't believe. I don't know the ages. But Aunt May kept asking for little Bobby Hartley. And I'm here today because of Aunt May. I went to a huge church in Australia, Melbourne. And on the way, I said, we're going to meet Aunt May. And there were thousands of young people. And I said, where's Aunt May? They all split. And I see an 80-year-old woman that had prayed them all in. They're all in. They were all there because of Aunt May. Well, we're all here because of Doreen Russo. And there's going to be many others that are here. and going to move into this heavenly place that I'm going to go on to describe. There's a Jessica Lee that she's going from more than a method to transform, and she's going to have this pastoral fivefold calling where she pastors people into this higher way of hearing and seeing. And you're going to help her just to decree things because she won't feel that courage to do it. Say, like, can I really do this? And that's what you're going to give people, courage. Yes, you can do it. You know, you're just going to be like that fun buddy when I was a kid, like Joe Thomas, who told me, yeah, you can ride without your training wheels. Now, I fell down and broke his nose, but I did good after that. So let me just share real quickly, and I'll let you go, dude. Just the upgrades in where we're at and just how we are going to ask the Lord. They showed me in this second corner. It's a new encounter pathway, and it begins in Hebrews. Where did I say, Caitlin? 9, right? 9. So I just quickly give this to you because I go so long, and I just want to come back and be able to prophesy with grace and strength. And Linda, thank you Lori, thank you for writing down the time. I think Jacqueline got it, you know. So, okay. It says, so we had a first covenant that had ordinances of design service. For a tabernacle was prepared, talks about what I was talking about, the lampstand, the table of showbread, the sanctuary, and behold, behind the second veil, the part of the tabernacle, which was the holiest of all, which had the golden censer and the Ark of the Covenant overlaid with gold. Aaron's rod that was budding. I'm skipping because we talked about it. It's just what we experience as we get to heaven. It talks about an overshadowing of the mercy seat, and that's really what we gain in the comfort room. I don't want to skip things, but I want to get to the part that really shares about our heavenly ascent. Okay, so therefore, in verse 23, it was necessary, and I'm going to say it was necessary to adore him. I've distilled this process. There's divine processes. So you adore him in the outer court. You tell him, go through the alphabet. I got many tools. Buy them, or if you have trouble, I'll give them to you. We could use $1 or $2 now, but we've got amazing things. So you say, and you know, I adore you, the awesome, affectionate one, the beautiful one. I see your eyes, the comforter, the counselor. I'm starting to be lifted right now with you into your presence to see your face. I'm being brought into this place with a brazen laver where I'll confess I'll be like you, a man that loves, a man that's gentle, a man that's not pushy, that's just sweet and has a sweet stick and always brings love and not any resentment or bitterness. I'm a man that can't get offended because of you and me, a man that's happy and full of joy because I know you're winning. I'm a man that sees how you're winning in the midst of, I have the best view in town. I want to sit down at the table of the Lord with you. I want to commune with you, my best friend. I want to hold your hands, kiss your face. I want to talk about the journey we've gone on together. I want to talk about my friends and the journey that you've taken them on, how you've loved them. And I want to listen to your heart. And then I want to be able to ask you questions. And questions that you tell me. You'll tell me what to ask you. You'll say, ask me what I'm doing in this time to advance you in the spirit, not to move you backwards. Ask me how I'm growing you up in hope and ask me how I am showing you ways of love every day that are even better than what you would have thought. And this is what we begin to do, and we begin to just soak. There's more listening that happens. And then these divine questions that just make us cry. And we're asking and listening to his heart. And that's the number one place of intimacy for him and for anyone, is to listen to their heart. And then you start to experience this Hebrews 9:23, where we're doing the copy of things. And the copy is from Exodus 25-35. And it said, for Christ has not entered holy places with hands, which is a copy of the true, but into heaven itself, that he should offer himself often as the high priest. He then would have to suffer for the foundation of the ages. So Christ was offered once, and the law was given as a shadow for the. I'm going to get to it, you guys. I'm so sorry. This whole passage means so much, and I just want to get to a place where the reward comes. Here it comes. Oh, gosh. 10:23. My eyes got tears in them. For he who promised us is faithful. I cannot believe it. I cannot find where it is. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm going to list it out. What I did is I just took from it what happens as we enter into the holy place. And I grabbed it from about 3 or 4 places, but it was all right here. And I just, for some reason, I had another version of the Bible. So let me just say this to you, because this is a mess. I'm sorry. But here's what happens. It's an overview of the upgrades. Is that Psalms 86:6 is where we start with God. It talks about petitioning, and it's here, this process. And then there's a partnering with the Holy Spirit, Romans 8:26, where it's praying in tongues, in 1 Corinthians 14:2, heavenly language, and just adoring him that way. And then there's inviting Jesus in. That it says God draws near to you when you draw near to him. You just have to invite him. It says Psalms 33:12. Blessed is the nation, a person who invites him in. And then you simply start to just agree with Mark 11:22 with who he is and his nature. And that's the adoration. And then you start to go to that place where you hear who he says you are. And that's the divine remembrance at the brass and laver. And then you go to the table. And at the table, that's again the place where you see and you hear prophetically. You gain God's perspective in a situation, which is 1 Corinthians 14:31. And then you have this informed place of decrees. And it talks about in 1 Peter 4:11 how we become then oracles of God. That now the lions we've been lions that roar on the ground, but now we're going to be lions that roar in the heavenlies. And then that goes across, it says, we'll thunder in the waters above the heavens, and that'll go across the earth. And then next, we expand our spirits over the situation and bring it in under God's Spirit in us. We start to realize our heavenly place, and we can cover a nation, we can cover a city, we can cover a family, and there's real authority in it. Look up Acts 5:15. And then we begin to, and this is where it gets different, but I've dreamed of 78 new types of miracles, new types of, I want you to experience some things. The next time I talk, I want to prophesy to people some things that I believe they're going to experience in the Spirit. I have a friend that says, we just need to get grounded in Jesus, and the prophecy in that is confusing people. No, we need to work through that. We need all of God. And there's new miracles and new ways to encounter him. There's angelic. I've seen angels in the heavenly with eye patches. That means they can't see by themselves. We have to direct them at times. And I can just tell you where the scripture is. You know, I was trying to tell you, where in Hebrews where we came to a mountain where it's together, where we come together, we meet in heaven together, and then some of these expressions happen, and we see each other according to the colors we are in the spirit, and we get a real honor for each other according to the spirit, and then we begin to see the Lord, and we begin to see him high and lifted up. We see what he's doing, what he's thinking. Then we get to see the host, our brothers and sisters, witnesses, and they will speak to us, and they help guide, and they help with intercession, and there's more. Then we see our angels. We get to know the angels that have been assigned to us, and we can ask for angelic helpers to go with us. Now, there's a place of permission but then you honor the angels that are with you. You appreciate them. You don't worship them. But I would stand and have an orange hue when I was in Korea, especially the two largest churches in the world. That was an angel of hope. And sometimes you'll know their name, sometimes you won't. I have an angel called Herbie, which is fun as heck. Just all the time when something really difficult happens, he's just got a spin on it that just lifts me above it in a conquering spirit that's just fun as heck. Like, Kent never did a thing. We're going to win this thing. And just thoughts from the Lord through Herbie. And, I've got a blue angel that comes and gives me revelation in a certain way for cities. And like a city united, I have visions of our city, and it's always through the blue. And so you begin to expand your spirit, and you're able to expand like the heart, the love. And my focus is the sweet stick, is there's a reconciliation for resentment. There's a sweet stick that can be thrown in the water like Exodus 15 and change all the bitter to sweet. And that's where I'm to live, is occupying. It's a manly, it's authoritative, it's mercy, it's a gentleness under control. It's like David. And Psalms 18:33 said, your gentleness made me great. Your mercy and your power in that. And the Lord will tell me through the angelic people, the ones with me, he'll tell me personally, just show kindness to this person. And some really beautiful ways to make beautiful responses that I couldn't come up with on my own. But it's changing the earth. And we will do this together from the heavenly place where our mind's not just this big mud puddle, and when he tries to throw a dream in there, plop, it just doesn't make any ripples. Because what happens after we expand our spirits, we'll start to travel. And this is not weird. It's, let me give you 2 Kings 5:26. Look it up. But I'll get up there, I'm adoring him, I'm at the communion table, and he'll send me, like I got sent to the room in Georgia where they were counting the votes, and they had pulled the suitcases out. So I knew the name of the two women. I was able to give the address to people. This is where I got to be careful on YouTube and stuff. But then I released and commissioned angels there, and to have their hearts first changed, and then to have them. It was at that point where it needed to be exposed, and that happened. And so I thought when my health was rough and I had to slow down, that I'd be less effective in the spirit. Well, I moved out of my self-strength more. I still have to more, but I just would travel. And I would go into hospital rooms, or go into political situations, go into friends' homes. Now, I don't intrude. but I just speak life to a marriage. I'd have specific things, and I would call people, and they would make the exact statement that I made in their private place. I want us to expand to the next step. Again, is where we release and commission angels into the situation. Psalms 103:20. We have so much more at our access, tools in our life and love, and from the nature of who He is. And, it's us corporately. The next place is we meet corporately in the heavenlies together and develop a game plan. And that's Hebrews 12:23. It's Hebrews 12:23. Gosh. Oh, I don't want to do it now because it takes. You have come to Mount Zion, the city of the living God. So that's where we come, to the heavenly Jerusalem, to an innumerable company of angels. So we see ourselves heaven place with the living God, the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and then there's innumerable angels. And then who else is there? The General Assembly and the Church of the Firstborn, who are registered in heaven, all the ones that are in the book of life that have gone on. And then God, who is the judge of all, is there. That God who knows immediately what's right and wrong in situations, filled with mercy, makes your complicated matters simple, and more than that. And then the spirits of just men made perfect are up there, people that have insight from a perfect place. Then Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, has blood sprinkling that speaks better things than that of Abel, which is the ability to redeem. Abel is the ability to redeem anything, and the mediator can tell us how to redeem, political parties or whoever, where he wants us to decree. And it says, then it goes on, it says, he who speaks from heavens, and we will speak with him from heaven, and it cannot be shaken. And then let brotherly love continue. And so we meet corporately in the heavens. We engage with the saints. Hebrews 11:40. We are coming up with a game plan. We travel physically to the location to fulfill a mission. And many of us are going to go to different places. And as we mature and as the Father deems it timely, more and more of these tools are given to us based on our level of maturity. But it grants a greater level of maturity, grants a greater devotion to Jesus. This is a place you never get bored. And it grants a greater character to keep us from misusing our gifts or the tools. And each successive tool brings with it increasingly more liberty and more power. So this for starters. This is opening up and inspiring us into an eternity of new territories opening up to us. Psalm 16:11. All of Psalm 16 is that. So there will never be a reason to be bored again. And I say, just for tonight, I love you guys. It's nothing is impossible with God. And I have had a cooey, saying it wrong, doing corporate prophetic with me because I know the tools that she'll have and be able to bring her faith and be able to time travel and be able to come back and tell us what she saw. And monthly, we're going to have a corporate prophetic word that, and it's not like I'm forcing God. It just happens, with every room. And it will be timely and give us instruction. This time has been about the comfort room and about asking again. And it's about, for the whole body of Christ, this breakthrough to ask from the heavenly place. So Gunnar Fox can help lead us. Doreen Russo is going to help lead us. She is Lamech and Noah. She will save the wounded and give them comfort. and she's a secret agent. And her home is a place that she loves people and sends arrows and love. And where she'll time travel and space travel to them, and it'll be of much fruit. She has 11,001 that she's going to keep from giving up and wants them into their great turnaround as Hope Reformers. And God will give her just specific language. Ann Cooper has a key role in the development of the prayers and the content for these rooms so that people can feel, taste, and touch it, because she's going to go there first. So this is ones I saw as I saw us in the heavenlies. I saw Tammy and the Bolivar woman, which was a woman I met as a young man just saved, and she had an answer for everything. She was in her 80s. She never was heard from her a discouraging word. And I'll get challenged sometimes with a familiar spirit that's negation. That just, thank gosh, more should be done. And the Lord will say 10% done of what you thought is unbelievable. And so she's been one that has spoken to me like that. And God is going to use her that way. Jacqueline Mahalalel's mother, I saw, and I asked who's his mother. And I saw Jacqueline. And you're a leader to help people ask with confidence again, but the blessed God. And so you're a team mother to this group in prayer and to ask again for them. And you've got a gift of seeing heaven and the panorama. Just there's a telescope he wants to show you where you get to look and see how he sees original design in the earth. Like I saw Kansas City, he took me there and I saw it as a city united with thousands and thousands of people outside of Union Station. I'm cleaning up my garage and I flip around something that looks like a picture, and it's a Kansas City Star Metropolitan paper, and it's light blue, the picture, and it's of Union Station, thousands and thousands of people, 500,000, and it says a city united, Kansas City. I'll tell you, this is good stuff. It's going good places. We're not going to ever be bored. Valerie, she will get the Mahalalel view. Specifically, she doesn't see her angels yet. And I saw Valerie enough, and she's awesome. But I saw her swimming across the rivers of hopelessness. And she was looking up and seeing these demonic, this is dark water, scary, trying to get across this, and they were trying to push her under, these dark demons. And the Lord was saying, look down. And so there's a time where you look up, then there's a place where you look like blinders, it says, and you look down. You're looking at your feet. You're keeping yourself directed. Your feet are set towards Jerusalem. You just allow yourself to see the left and the right. And when you look down, there was thousands of angels that were smiling and holding you up. There was no way you were going to sink. And when you saw them, you were lifted 2-3 feet above the water. You're swimming in air. And so the waters of hopelessness, you will swim way above. And there's nothing that can cause that to have any impact on you. You'll teach people how to swim way above. And you'll be an evangelist and a pastor where you'll help people get planted in rows. You'll just say, hey, come along. As we have nights of encounter where we're going to have these marveling centers. And I saw one that was going to help build marveling centers, Jessica Lee and Michael Wong, and out of the place of Solomon's Porch now, the Hope Center there. And we need to talk to your leadership there. So, but 2 people I saw planting in rows with her was Jim and David Shear. So Valerie, let me know. Somebody, if you talk to Valerie, let's see if Valerie knows these people. So there's a word for each one here. Let's do part two um, soon. This is easy for me and wonderful, especially when I get into who you are and how God's going to give you these gifts. If Bob Jones wouldn't have said to me, this young man's going to dream dreams and stated what they'd be like, I would have never had a contact text. He said about me first, he said half his brain's dead. He's a pragmatist. He just doesn't see in the spirit and hurt my feelings good. He threw it in front of everybody, and thought half your brain's dead. But then I understood golden senses. I was trained, and it was awesome. And I just, lived by the way he guides me in the spirit. So we are going to meet in that heavenly place together. We're going to have times when we get on. If anybody's expert at this stuff, please help, because I'd love to have a Zoom call where we can get on and we can go there, and then different ones can just speak to what they're experiencing, and we make those decrees. By decrees, things are established, and for one another, and we will see much real fruit happen in the spirit. It's not going to be hocus. It'll be real fruit. It'll be real fruit that comes when you see Jesus. It's real fruit that comes forth, and you see each other in the spirit. So, Rachel, thank you for saying that was beautiful tonight. So, Rachel, I don't know if you've been on. I got a feeling or two for you. And so, what I'd like to do is do more nights and do shorter. I'm just trying to get out of a lot of administration I have to do. So again, if anybody's good at doing some of that, we'd make it easy. We can do it. There's so much you can do virtual, like getting databases up so people get the notices. And I just had a large company, and then I had a heart attack, and I had to drop companies, and I just all the staff is I'm wanting to keep it simple, but I want to make sure people are notified and that we are able to manage and build well. And so there's some distinct roles you need. Even setting this up is hard for me. So I was an hour late, So anyhow, Catherine, love to hear what you have to say about Zoom, just because it was really amazing. Years ago with Bob Jones, he told me there'll be a place where you Zoom together with other people. I got it written down. Some of it just after the fact, so people think, yes, no, yes. And so I think Zoom, let's Zoom together. So Linda Everline, you're awesome. Linda is helping us to execute and build properly, and it's made a huge difference. Mike Town, if any of you know him, he's not helping enough. He needs to come and pray and play his guitar and take me to heaven with him. He's a best friend, and we've known each other for years, lived in Zimbabwe together. And I'm just like, gosh, Mike, we got to go to heaven this together. Is Mike on this call? Yes, he's on the call. Honestly, I saw him. Lee Adams, where you been? I love you, man. So we'll be consistent so we can be here together. Yeah, Mike Town can lead the choir. Mike Town is a leader of hope, an elder of hope. Gosh, I love you guys speaking to each other like that. You're nailing who Mike Town is. Yeah. He has a place called the Well that we all need to go drink there together. You know, we got to make some plans for this next year. So we are not going to be, you know, we love our homes. We can Zoom, but boy, it's sure good to see each other. So Lord, release it. Mike Town, love you. So part 2 soon. Michael Wong, just if you post the review, it just says these were the 3 points that Bob made about corner number 2. And then we're heading into corner number 3. Corner number 3 is going to be Angie Kelly's. There she is. Cool. We just got to get on this call and meeting every week, Tammy. And Sean Roach is my best friend from New Zealand that hasn't invited me there lately. She could handle all of us. She knows how to throw a party, a braai. So we got to go there with her husband, John, eat the food, and have fun. So, but Michael's putting the review, and then we're notifying people, and we're trying to get our email where our email list got too big. So then we got to do an upgrade, and then just keep the notifications out, because we're really going to this Institute of Higher Learning together. Higher learning means higher learning. And we're going to be moving from the heavenlies in our authority, filled with hope, and we're going to take some divine territory that I want to talk about as individuals and together. So love you all. Robert, so great to see you too. What I'm going to do, Linda, is I've got some words for some of these different ones. And so we'll just, I'll do it on a sound file. And then if you can send it to them, that'd be awesome. Catherine, thank you for, just who you are. Love praying for you, for that subscription, and just really means a lot. So just you to trust us to pray for your life. Okay, love you. I'm talking too long. Bless you guys. Good night. Nanette, thank you. Bless you guys. See ya.